When someone asks you, how are you feeling today? Your automatic response is to say you're fine. But what if you're asked the question from 1 to 5, how are you feeling? Now, in order to answer that, you need to stop, think, reflect, and evaluate. In this video, we're going to talk about the 3 benefits of using scales when supporting others, because using scales is one of the most underused tools in caregiving. My name is Laura, founder of Hope Made Strong. We're equipping you and your ministry team as you support and care for others in your community. When I was working at a mental health clinic, I was walking someone out after our 1-hour session. They ran into someone they knew in the hall, and of course, the polite and expected question was asked of them. How are you doing? As I was walking back to my office, I paused a minute to hear what the response was going to be. This individual just spent the last hour pouring out trauma and suffering that was leading to suicidal thoughts. But of course, her answer was, I'm fine. How are you? This person was so far from fine. But the I'm fine response is so hardwired that we almost can't help ourselves but answer in that way. Some common goals when supporting people is to improve their quality of life, sort through tragedy to find meaning, and to discover purpose and strength with their current circumstances. But each of these goals requires wading through emotions and feelings and thoughts, things that are often difficult to describe and even more difficult to measure. By using scales in our support work, we're able to do 3 things. Number 1, we're able to expand our limited vocabulary to describe emotions and feelings. Number 2, we're able to shift from vague subjective descriptions and apply a measurable figure. And thirdly, we're able to more accurately assess where the person we're supporting is at in their journey. Numbers are passive. They're neither good or bad. Numbers only have meaning when their significance is applied. A 9 is really high when the scale is out of 10, but really low when it's out of 100. Choosing a number to represent how someone is feeling is a lot easier than describing an emotion. Numbers are neutral. Emotions are packed with baggage. Many cultures don't encourage the expression of emotion, so people are left with a simplified vocabulary of what they're feeling. If it doesn't fit into the categories of happy, sad, angry, then it is really difficult to express. By using a number, we're taking away those complexities of vocabulary and defining emotion in a way that is easier for the individual. Another type of scale I like to use is colors. Like numbers, it simplifies the process of describing emotions. By using green, yellow, and red, people can self-identify where they're at. I often describe green as a feeling of good to go, positive energy, excited about life, and red as being in a crisis, and yellow obviously somewhere in between. However, when I was meeting with a young child and I asked them to describe how they're feeling in a color, they chose purple, a mix of red and blue, and then they went on to describe what blue and red meant. These conversations are so very valuable. You begin to hear about triggers and stresses and warning signs. In this context, people often identify strengths or supports that they're using that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to identify. In describing why they chose that number or color, people are often able to bring great insight and begin to point out their own barriers and strengths. And finally, scales allow you to more accurately assess where the person is at in their journey. Fairly often, a person will come in for support session with a specific issue identified, but the first 15 minutes they keep talking about something completely different. It would be tempting to either cut them off and ask about this initial reason for the meeting, or to abandon the initial purpose and continue on with the current topic. This is a great opportunity to use a scale. Ask the person to rate out of 10 how much the new issue is causing them distress, and then ask about the initial issue. This allows you to find out if there's a new and more pressing matter or if they're just avoiding a difficult conversation. This can also be helpful if the person you support goes on a lot of rabbit trails and the meetings are getting longer and longer and longer. Using scales is a great way to get a more accurate picture and allows you to direct your support efforts. So, at your next support meeting, if the person is having difficulty describing their feelings, or if the meeting is lacking focus, or if it's a struggle to keep people on track, use a number or color scale as it provides common ground and language to build upon. In the show notes below, there is a color template that you can download to help you in your next meeting. Thanks for connecting. Take care.